Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
All right, buzz, babies. What are we doing live on a Thursday night while the Chiefs are playing? I don't know, man. It's we're riding the cusp of new territory here. How's it going, Austin? Good to see you. We are here tonight to do the first ever Blake's Buzz live Kickstarter launch party. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just, all I know is I'm really excited for the second issue of Mr. John Westhoff's comic, which is what we're here to celebrate and talk about. John, how you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing great. Welcome back to John's Jam Live, where I take over Blake's show every 3 months when he can't find anybody else to subject to his torture.
It's always good to have a comic book pro up your sleeve, right? Where I'm like, I piss everybody else off and no one will talk to me. And I'm like, John, what do you got going on? He's like, I'll find, I'll let her something real quick. We'll promote it. We'll get it out there. Austin, how you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing well, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, man.
So it's good to talk comics.
You've got a campaign going now too, right?
Yeah, we launched about 3 days ago. Yeah, for my zombie series.
What's the name of that bad mammer jammer?
Zombies Were Human Too. Joe Davison, Jonathan Hendrick exclusive. Let's get that. Yeah. No, Zombies Were Human Too exclusive comic.
Okay.
Drop those links in the chat.
Let's see. Yeah. And then, so did you say Hedrick was working on that with you?
Yeah. So my series, it tells zombie stories before and how they become zombies. And it's told through three teenagers that are out foraging, originally spooked, chased, trapped, and to calm the youngest, they just make up stories of zombies that they see of who they were, how long they last, and how they die in a funny way. And we've had 2 full graphic novels so far. This comic book brings us into the 3rd volume itself. And the uniqueness of it is it's kind of a collaboration because the main story is created and wrote by myself and series artist Mercurio Campitella. And the zombie stories are done by different art teams, writers and artists in black and white. And that's what we've done for all, the 2 volumes. So for this book, yes, Jonathan Hendrick is writing one of the zombie stories with Stefano Carticelli. I'm butchering his name.
Nice. Yeah. I love Stefano's art, man.
Yeah, the other one is done by Stranger Things actor Joe Davidson with art by Stan Yak.
Nice. Oh man, that's a stacked cast you got between those covers, sir. I'm excited to talk about that. Be Kind Rewatch, what's up? Giddy up indeed. Then we got a Zombaruxman, and Zombaruxman. Yeah, I think I said that right. What's up? It is a launch party. Who would have thought? Who would have thought Blake's Buzz Live would succumb to this, these menial tasks? No, I kid. I'm super excited about this, and I'm doing fucking 2 more next week. So I this is actually my idea. I hit up John, like he mentioned, how it's who else can I ask to do this with? And but I said, hey man, what are you doing for your launch? And he was like, launching it. What, going about my fucking day? And I was like, you want to do a test launch party? And he didn't really want to, I don't think, because he was like, aren't I coming on your show at the end of September? I was like, well, yeah, but this could be, anyway, I'm just kidding. I
want to go to bed, man. It's a work day.
Hey, tomorrow's Friday, right? So this is like pre-Friday. That's fine. So
it's better till Friday's done. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, look, I thank you for giving me play-by-plays of what's going on in the game in the chat. I actually have my cell phone playing the game on mute right in front of me. So if you guys hear, if I just kind of like stop, no, I'm just
hey man, that's perfectly fine with me. I get it.
No problems.
All right, so we got John's Kickstarter launching. I guess what would make sense is to just like pop this bad boy up here and take a look at it. Drumsticks of Doom #2. Are you using like same paper stock and everything as the first one?
Yeah, so we just got done shipping issue 1. as Blake knows, he's one of the awesome 269 supporters that we had. Just got done shipping that out just in the nick of time to launch number 2. So we wanted to, while it was still fresh in people's minds, get issue 2 up there. We use Comix Wellspring. You'll see them at the bottom of the campaign as our printer. They did an amazing job printing it.
Yeah.
I was so happy with the quality. When I first started like 12 or 13 years ago, old, the quality of digital and short run printers was always hit or miss. But nowadays, I mean, they've kind of perfected the art. So I was really happy. And I'm glad you mentioned that right off the gate, Blake, because paper stock, all that kind of stuff is really important to me. I like the aesthetic of the paper book. So you can't see it in the background here, but I got it back here. Issue 1, amazing Maria Wolf cover.
Like one of her like top cut, like two, like she does amazing covers, and that's like one to brag about. Like it's so good, and I love. I
appreciate you saying that because I know you're a huge Maria Wolf mark. So
dude, I will. I'm so glad that she's doing like regular Marvel covers at cover price, so that I don't have to like spend $20 on a cover for her, because it's real easy to do sometimes.
Oh, for sure, her stuff is amazing. I mean, I get it why she would be the variant of choice for a lot of the higher price variants. But I think we originally kind of had her, but the idea I gave her was just, it was a riff basically on a cover for a Manowar album, and I kind of always had that image in my head, as the cover image for the book. And man, she just knocked it out of the park. So I was like, I think this kind of has to be the standard cover, because I want that to be the image to promote the book. And yeah, she's just amazing. Turned it around on a quick turnaround for me. I mean, she was super excited about the book. So nice when I met her and gave her a couple, comp copies. She was really great to work with. And you see, as you've paused there, we got another heavy hitter in the industry. I think, I'm very fortunate, because I think the book itself kind of has, an easy tagline. So once I pitched this to Kelly Williams, you see here, said, I want you to do this riff on this Dio cover. And he was like, yeah, I'll be honest. I was going to say no, but once you said Dio, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So, and he killed it too. I was like,
this cover is great.
This work? You can do whatever you want, is what I told him, of course, but this is kind of what I wanted. And he was like, oh no, I can do that. And man, he killed it.
It's got a similar like color vibe too to the initial Maria Wolf color or cover. Like they just pair well together, even though they're like different artists. I dig it.
And I should ask him, because that was Mike Spicer, who colors all of Maria's, but pretty much all of her stuff. She insisted on using him. He's great. And he just did amazing. And I don't know if Kelly saw the cover and was like, let me, stay in that realm, or just he kind of thought heavy metal colors work like this. Maybe there's like a secret artist, like heavy metal color palette I don't know about. Just kind of all go to it. But yeah, look at that. They're going to look amazing side by side. We have an early bird special for both the books. If you weren't part of the first one, you want to catch up. Yes, be kind, rewind, and rewatch. Dio does rule, of course. He is the little god. You can catch up. If you happen to miss it, you can get both issues at a discount for the first few days here. Wanted to do a first weekend thing to kind of hopefully get funded. So you can get both of these amazing standard covers at a good price, print or digital.
Yeah, the $13 is solid. And then you got some cool stickers. You got some. Here's the variant for the second issue. So I know you did the lettering in the other logo. Did you do this Drumsticks of Doom logo too?
I did not. And again, thank you for mentioning that. That was Dave Jordan. I reached out to him. We were kind of thinking about doing like a backup story for the book. And then I said, well, I know you do logo design too, and obviously you're huge into heavy metal. Can you do a Doom metal? And he's like, I got you. So yeah, he did an amazing job, and I kind of want to plaster that on as much stuff as I can. It's kind of going to be our alternate or variant logo, whatever you want to call it.
I really love just the regular cover A too. I love the interior art so much, right? And it's you got some awesome covers, man. Oh, and then you can get some actual drumsticks. Unfortunately, they are not imbued with the blood of a demon and powers. I've heard. If John tries to tell you that, it's false advertisement, and we won't be having that on Blake's Buzz Live. But we got some cool pins, some cool stickers. I dig the Part-Time Comics logo. It's all in there's a little keychain action. Hopefully you don't lose your keys like I do.
For everyone.
And then lots of like collections too of the other stuff he's done. Over the last couple, like, or last year, I think you can get all of Part-Time Comics bundles, which is pretty dope. And might as well talk with you're going full metal,
heavy metal, or no metal at all. So we're actually doing a heavy metal cover of the Maria Wolf cover. We'll see how it does. Maybe we introduce some other ones along the line, but for now, they are pretty expensive to print. So we kind of wanted to test the water, see who's interested. So with your issue 2, you can get this awesome Maria Wolf cover as well in glorious metal. Don't have a preview for you yet, but yeah, we definitely, that was an idea I had for the first one, but wanted to keep the funding reasonable. So now that we've funded that one and we've got a lot of backers involved, I think this is something that people are going to really like. Limited to 20 copies because again, they are insanely expensive to print, but they aren't. It's not chromium. This isn't the 90s. It's not holofoil. This is actual metal. Covers. You've probably seen them. Like I know, I forgot the name of Brian Polito's company, but Lady Death does them a lot. Like once I saw one at a convention, I picked it up. I was like, holy shit, I got to do this. This thing is actual freaking metal.
Yeah, they're great. And yours is actually really competitively priced too. 48 plus shipping.
And that again, you do get issue 2 with that as well. I'm glad you said that because I really did waver on the price. It's very hard in comics in general. I'm sure Austin knows. We agonize over, do we charge $7? Do we charge $8? Because you want to give people a fair deal, but when you're printing really small runs and trying to pay your artists competitive wages, it can be tough.
Especially now with the price of paper and everything gone up and all that, the cost per book has like almost doubled in price from what it was like a year ago too, which is great.
Yeah, and medium mail just went up. It seems like it gets more expensive every few months or so. Ignacio's in the house. What's up, buddy? Good. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you.
Number one Wolf fan, Ignacio. Don't tell him that the Wolves don't appear in this issue. They're only in. The mystery continues with them. You won't want to buy this issue.
Yeah, there's speaking of mystery, there's issue 1 has a lot of mystery. Like I like it. I like Lane. Is it Lena? What Lena, right? Lena.
Lana is how I pronounce it, but yeah.
I knew I'd fuck something up.
I mean,
so yeah, like I love Lana. She's just like a little badass and like rock and bass player, and then like a secret romantic music, has these like, I'm imagining like teeny bopper like love songs that she's playing in secret, right? And so I mean she's got layers, and there's something about her, right, that we haven't found out yet. And at the end of issue 1, we find out that she's being hunted, and why, and I don't know. And I need all this shit answered, and I have a feeling that issue 2 is going to answer some questions, but not all of them. And then of course I'll be thirsty for it for months, fiending, foaming at the mouth like a rabid wolf, just needing that sweet taste of metal. But yeah, I love this book. I won't lie. When I first saw it, I was like, Maria Wolf cover done, because I buy a lot of her covers, and then I ended up talking to John a couple times, and I've read more of his comics and backed some of his other campaigns and stuff. And Part-Time Comics does cool shit. And when I was being a little crybaby wuss face the other night on Facebook about some shit that happened, John reminded me, like, when comics don't pan out, you just fucking do it yourself. And that's what Part-Time Comics is, right? You just kind of made your own press to make your own comics and fuck everybody else. You're here to party.
Yeah. And, like Austin is here with us. Most of us end up down that path. It's difficult. Austin's got some credits to his name. I've met some awesome creators, who worked with Scout and Image. But, I mean, the majority of independent comics is self-published. We might slap a name on there to make ourselves look a little more professional, but I've done the pitching thing for years. And actually Part-Time Comics, I did start out pitching, including Drumsticks of Doom, to about a dozen companies. And in the end, I said, let me put a product out there and see if someone comes to us and says, hey, we want to pick up your book. Great, but you know what, I can't. I'm old, I can't sit around till I'm 60 years old waiting for, people to snag these stories. With Kickstarter and social media and everything, I think it's easier than ever to if you want to do it with a little hard work, you can get your books out there. So that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. Ignacio is bummed about the werewolves, but he already backed it. So he already got his money. So that's good. Tim Westhoff is in the house. I'm assuming of your relation, John. Is
Yeah,
that
a big part of this book is my brother had a drum set, and I played bass at first, and I had to my band didn't have a drummer, so he was nice enough to let me use his drum set and learn drums. So he's a big part of why this book exists, and of course we used to collect comics together, go to the shop with my mom and my grandma. So yeah, welcome to my brother.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for helping get John where he's going, because I'd be remiss if I hadn't stumbled across you. Like I think you're a good person on the scene. You're real. What you really are is I'm saying, you're a really good letterer. And you make I dig the main Drumsticks of Doom logo. But the lettering in the book is gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, I can retire now. Thank you. I'm not joking. It is so nice to hear someone notice. I've been lettering for a long time. And it's just nice to hear even somebody say, hey, you're getting better, whatever. That always means a lot to me. Part of it, I started doing it out of necessity, but I've really enjoyed learning the skill. And now I'd really like to do it because I can edit the script right up to the, printing time. I don't have to talk to the letterer and go back and forth. I can say, I don't like this dialogue, or this doesn't work here. So some of it's about, a little bit of control and a little laziness with editing. But yes, thank you so much, Blake. I'm going to clip this and, pin it everywhere. That was such a nice thing.
Make it a ringtone. Yeah, that's
people have told me that in my interviews, because I'm usually real amped up and ready to go and and I just I kiss the right amount of ass where it's not weird or grotesque or anything, right? But I my guests are I'm glad I came on this show, I guess. I keep it that way. I've said some stuff about people's comics before, and they're like, dude, can I just call you when I'm having a bad day, or can you record my outgoing voicemail?
Please.
But yeah, it's a very I was really impressed with Drumsticks of Doom, just both with the covers, paper stock. You fulfilled the campaign quickly. You provide updates to people. You know how to do a good Kickstarter, basically, which I think most people do these days. But some things take longer than others, and sometimes things take longer than others, and no one says a goddamn thing for months, and you're like, what's going on? Hey, fill me in, pal. You gotta floated you $40-50 or something, but that doesn't happen a lot. I don't want to deter people from Kickstarter. Kickstarter is awesome. Crowdfunding comics are awesome. Part-time comics are full-time awesome. You can put that on a t-shirt. take that to the bank.
Part of it is experience. You do this for a long enough time, you kind of know what you need to do and know what you need to have done before the campaign ends. To be honest with you, we weren't 100% sure what the response would be with this. You never are. Yeah. So we did have a little work to do afterwards. We actually were able to reach some stretch goals thanks to people like yourself, and so we extended the book, so that took a little longer. But with this issue, it'll be wrapped up by the end of this campaign. Dan's almost done. Now that we've got some lead time and some funds in the bank, and part of that is working with people you can trust. Dan Doherty has been a working artist for 15 years or more in the industry. He's an awesome artist. He's professional. He's on time. So that helps. All the cover artists I've worked with are amazing. So that really helps. So, obviously a huge shout out to them. I can't mail any books if the work isn't done. I could letter a blank page, I guess. So obviously that's part of it, is working with not only top quality talent, but, professional that understand, that have been through this and understand you don't want to deliver late, especially on the first issue, and lose people's confidence. So a huge shout out to them. Obviously the book wouldn't exist without their art, but without their professionalism too. So
you and Dan were you guys kind of tight? You made it sound like you knew each other one time when we talked. You knew each other for a while.
Yeah. So Dan and I worked on an anthology. I met him through a friend. I had a friend, Wendy Freeman. We realized we had a ton of people in our lives that were in bands, but also make comics. And we said, let's make this anthology called Banthology. And she actually brought Dan in. Hey, I know Dan. He's a working musician. He's a working artist, and his story in the book was a big part of Drumsticks of Doom. When I read his story, which was about a musician who really couldn't get over that feeling of wanting that huge live crowd. It was called The Beast in Me. Ever since I read that story, I wanted to work with Dan, and it was part of what planted the seeds for this. So he and I had been, friendly. We've talked to each other at conventions. We talked to each other online. We support each other's books. And it finally came to time where I was like, all right, I've had this idea for a book. I want to pitch it to Dan. And I was able to a couple of years ago. Again, we tried to pitch it behind the scenes. It didn't work out. But yeah, Dan and I have known each other for a while. And we've gotten to know each other a lot better through doing this book for the last, 2.5 years as well. So that's been a fun experience.
Nice. How long is this baby going to run if you can go your full vision?
In my mind, it's about a 9 or 10 issue arc. So 3, smaller arcs. This first arc is planned for 3 issues, and then we'll kind of see where we're at, and then hopefully a trade of the first 3 issues, just to kind of see what we got. But yeah, in my mind, of course, there's other stories that could be told, if it catches fire and, the next Kickstarter does 20 grand and everyone's like, oh my God, I love this book. There's all kinds of things. I mean, you said it earlier, we kind of planted seeds and mystery, and I hope there's enough to the story where we could go off. But in my mind, the main story is about 9 or 10 issues.
I guess we should maybe tell people about this comic book that we're here to promote. It's such an awesome concept. I showed you that screenshot of telling my buddy about it earlier, and he was like, "This might be my first Kickstarter." And he's a metalhead, and he dug the idea. But so it's basically like, if Sabbath instead of the Beatles being like the most popular band in the world, most influential band in the world, it's Sabbath, and they rock so hard they open the gates of hell, and now monsters are just a part of our world, and this is how it is now, and it's very interesting too when you're reading it, because you're reading it and they're at this, they're band practice, and the fucking werewolf breaks into band practice, right? And it doesn't really shock anyone, and I love that. But that's then we run into a demon at a metal show, and it's this new, it's a totally different world. And how'd you come up with this? Like, how'd that idea pop into your head?
Well, I do a lot of drugs. No, just kidding.
Same. No,
a lot of it, honestly, I kind of had the scene of the band scene was in my mind. Like, I had this story about a girl, and it was just a person at first, and it was more about like exploring, going through being a musician, and do you want to go off and be part of the music scene or not, which was part of what I went through in my early 20s. And then I was like, you know what, no one's gonna read that shit. I'm not Jaime Hernandez. No one's going to read my Love and Rockets, boring story. I have to add something cool. So I'm like, all right, a werewolf busts into practice, right? So that was the first scene. That was where I planned it. And then I was like, well, why the hell would a fucking werewolf bust into practice? Now you have to make like a story out of it, right? and I swear to you, like, as I was talking about it with Dan, like kind of giving him my pitch, it was like around that time, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Black Sabbath became the greatest band on earth. People started practicing witchcraft and all the crazy shit that their aunts and uncles and grandmas told them, don't listen to heavy metal because this is what will happen. That happened. And so it created this world that's kind of just, well, hell has come to earth, but life goes on. I had another story similar to this with my longtime collaborator, Bob Gore-Ornelas, called Apocalypse Meh, where it's kind of a similar plot. So I kind of said, well, let's go stay in that universe and see what kind of story we had. And then again, seeing Dan's art and the werewolf and everything, I started coming up with more ideas. So it really started with that first scene where they're at practice, and it kind of made the story from there.
It's awesome. I love werewolves. Like, I dig vampires and stuff too, but I often think that, there's so much more, there needs to be better werewolf media out there, right? Like, we don't get a lot of awesome werewolf movies. And we've gotten many werewolf movies, but not up to like the caliber of, say, Dog Soldiers. And that's one of my, I was working at Blockbuster when that movie came out, and I we got to we got to, rent, you got 5 movies a week to work there, right? And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I like picked it up and I was like, it fucking blew my mind, right? It's so good. And practical effects are becoming like, less common every day, it feels like. So anyways, but there's just I think there's a need for great werewolf narratives in numerous forms, and Drumsticks of Doom is your furry fix, guys. If you like fucking werewolves and are only okay on rock and roll, probably still dig this book, man. Like, if you don't like werewolves, you'll probably dig this book. You should just back it. I the last time I looked at your campaign, I can't remember when, it was like 1,300. Now it's at 1,500. So I'm gonna take credit for $200. I'm just gonna throw that out there as me. I don't think we jumped that much, but I just realized that Be Kind Rewatch is Jeff. Jeff, we were in the green room. We were both talking about how fucking dope your comic book is, and how great the art is, and just John was like gushing over it. He was like, we should just talk about Jeff's book, not mine.
I did. That is an actual statement that I said.
It's
the fantasy book I've been looking for my whole life and didn't know it.
Yeah, we got Jeff wrote the fantasy book we've all been looking for our whole life and didn't know, and John wrote the alternate, werewolf infested universe or world that none of us knew we needed until we like got that into our greasy hands and put nasty fingerprints all over those beautiful pages that you paid extra money for.
And I actually did not plan this out, but obviously, I'm launching right around spooky season, and there is some spooky elements, including this issue has, some cult, the worshippers of metal cult. But talk about other monsters. I've been talking for a while. Austin, tell us about, you've got, right around the Halloween season, you've got a zombie book coming out. Tell the people what you got working on.
Well, everyone loves zombies because, they're dead, and people love the dead around this time of year, with Halloween. So the comic book, it's introducing into volume 3 of the graphic novel itself, but it's featuring Stranger Things actor Joe Davison and Jonathan Hedrick, which if anyone knows comic books, he is just blowing up with the recount with Scout, and he has another couple of books through Source Point and everything like that. And then we got art from Staniak, which is just incredible. And Stefano just won the Bram Stoker Award for his artwork that he just last month. I had complaints from stores that, the graphic novels are great for the readers, but it's not great for stores. I'm like, well, I can do collector comic books. Like the last one we did was just all of Staniak's artwork that he did for volume 1 and volume 2 as the collectors, and it blew up. So that's what we're doing like for this. So this is the story of volume 1 was they were trapped in a warehouse. They escaped in volume 2. They get into a safe room, but they're still trapped. And then the people who own the safe room get there, and then they're able to escape through that. And they make it to the church, which is actually a safe haven. There's another group there, and they're trying to prove why they should be allowed to stay in the church, not be thrown out. So that's what the comic book's about. The covers themselves are pretty amazing. The first one, the regular covers by Staniak and Robert Nugent. Yeah, the first one. I love that one.
Dude, it's fucking gruesome and gnarly. I love it.
Yeah, and that's focused right on Joe Davison's story that he wrote. He wrote a story in volume 2 about Slim and Tim, so this is kind of like a prequel, kind of introducing you more into it. And then the second cover is Stefano's cover, and it's colored by Casey Bailey, who's just he's an amazing artist to begin with, colorist, painter, just whatever. And then the third cover, respectfully, humbly, the artwork was done by myself, and the colors by Casey Bailey. So
how about that? He does it all, people.
Yeah, they're all solid. I'm a big fan of Stefano's, but I mean, this is just, you can't look away from that, even though you want to.
Yeah, it's pretty
like that hamburger mouth, man. Like, god damn, it's so good. It's amazing.
Yeah, Robert Nugent did the colors on that. He just crushed it. It's just so good. Interiors look
real nice too.
Thanks. Yeah. So my series artist, Mercurio, he's done it from day one. The colorist is Michael Woods. He's fairly new, but he's really solid. everything he's doing, he just keeps improving and improving. And it's just I really love the color palettes that he
I do
chose.
too. It's bright, but simultaneously like bleak. Like it really works with like an apocalyptic vibe, man. I'm digging this.
Yeah, he's got a good, nice walk.
Well, I'm really glad John brought you on, so my show cost me more goddamn money. No, just kidding. No, I will definitely be back in this. This looks amazing.
So that's Stan's artwork, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
they're just
insane.
So, when I first saw them, I'm like, dude, it's gorgeous. The whole idea with the zombies, when I came up with the idea, honestly, it was about 10 or so, 11 years now. I was at Wizard World Atlanta, and I was in the green room having lunch. These 3 people come in. I started chatting with them, and they were the first featured zombies on The Walking Dead. The ones with the Entertainment Weekly cover, the ones in the background, Rick Grimes, Nick holding the gun. Yeah, 3 out of the 4. That was them. And I thought it'd be neat if we did like figured out who you were before you became zombies, and I just tried to roll with it. Contractually couldn't do anything with, and I put it aside. And then, Lovey Facebook goes, 8 years ago, you posted this. I said, man, I wish we could have done something with that. And it just exploded. Everyone wanted to be a part of it. So that's why we did the collaborative part of the zombie stories done by different art teams. And it's not just pros. We've got new artists. Joe Davidson's an actor, director. He's always wanted to be a comic book. He got involved in it.
Yeah, tell us about that. How did you meet him at a show?
No, well, so 10-second tour on me. I've been working in comic books since 1994. I started as an inker. I've worked for Marvel, Image, IDW, Dynamite over the years as an inker. But as a writer, I started about 6 or so years ago for Scout and everything. But my backup plan was graphics. I retired 6 years ago, and a buddy of mine's like, hey, you want to play a ghoul in my movie? Fuck yeah, I do. Hey, you want to play a bodyguard? I'm like, yeah, I want to do this. I'm like, man, this is really cool. Like, you guys do this? How do you do this? I got into acting 6 years ago. And that's how I met Joe. Yeah, Joe was doing something, and then we talked some more, and then I'm in a web series he's called South of Central. We did a whole first season. We've had about 500,000 views total for the entire series. We're going to do season 2. Joe's a great guy. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, it's film's kind of crazy, man. I booked an Apple Plus series. It's coming out in, I guess, December. I'd have one film on BET that's coming out in November. I have one with Lifetime that should be for Christmas. And yeah, so I kind of fell into the actors thing, but he's always wanted to do comic books. Like that was like his dream. I'm like, dude, give me a story, man. I'll publish you. That's fine. And this is like made his day. So that's kind of like the thing. Like I got people who wrote novels. They want to do comic books, and it's just all bringing new people in and bringing different points of view and writing styles and artwork and collaborative. And that's the whole thing. Like I've been doing this for 28 years, man. Collaborating now is like the big thing. Like it's pushing the next generation to help the genre that we all love forward. That's what it's all about. So that's what this is. You know what I mean? And Stan, I've known Stan for 6 or 7 years. He started with me when he first was really getting into it. He's like, he loves zombies, so he was into it. Stefano, I met through Jonathan Hendrick. And Jonathan Hendrick I met because he went to a show and he set up and he started talking in Daytona. Now look at him. He's doing amazing stuff.
Yeah, that is a great feeling, though, collaborating with different people. You know, I worked very early on in my career with a lot of new people who've never been published, and that's always like a great feeling, whether it's, you know, a renowned actor or whatever level they're at. People get so excited to see their first story in print and to work through that. You know, some of the growing pains can be hard. You got to be honest with people, give them feedback, but you know, that's been such a rewarding experience. I hope to return to that someday. I did with the recent anthologies we did for The Simpsons and Magic. I was able to kind of rekindle that and find some people who have limited work in print or none. And it's all, I just love that part of being a self-publisher. Yeah, like you said, we can do whatever we want. Yo, you want to, you have a story? All right, let's find a way to make it work.
It's unfortunate to catch-22 because there's a lot of stores now that need that name recognition in order for them to want to buy. Like for this Kickstarter, I have reward tiers. I did my first store exclusive that we offer specifically. We've got about 3 stores, 2 that's booked, 1 that's going to be backing on Friday.
Nice.
The we've got a lot of digitals for people that want to catch up, you know what I mean, and get all the backstories. So now I'd have to spend a lot amount of money on that. We've got, you know, just the Jonathan, mine, or Joe's, just so you get not just comic book stuff, but like film sign stuff and everything like that. You can make the covers metal and the add-ons and everything too. Just, you know, trying different things. I'm old, man. I don't. Kickstarter is still fairly new, trying to figure stuff out, but it's a great vehicle to try to help fund and take care of your artists and everything before you ship it off to a publisher and have them want to go ahead and take a look. You know what I mean? I mean, look at Stefano's art. I just added some red to it because I thought that would be kind of cool. And it's just
this is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so sick, dude. And it's just his style is just so unique.
Dude, yeah, it's fucking gritty and raw. The first time I saw it, I didn't really know, you know, really what to think about it. It was with Hedrick's Freak Show, and I was like, wow, you know. And then it's got this like it's got this like roots in Miller kind of, right, and it also fucking goes right off the rails. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, I had a kind of similar reaction. It was like, well, you know, you've seen guys in kind of that looser style before, but there's something about his where he somehow he makes it his own, and you know him, and he's been so prolific right now. He's doing so many.
Yeah. His use of blacks are just fantastic, and there's a reason why he's blacking and putting whatever he's doing black wise. And that's very evident. Like Stan, he's using a lot of not just grayscale, but texturing grayscale with his stuff now. It's beautiful. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's and some of Stefano's covers too. Like when he gets like, you know, more of the page and can like put in like some finer details and stuff. He does some crazy shit. I really am excited now because you've got after I saw Stefano's interiors and it's him and Jonathan together, they are like a dream team right now. Like they hit it off. So like Jonathan's been on the show and we talk online sometimes because I'm super cool. Like, you know, like I have like comic book friends now. And but they like, you know, work together with the Caffeinated Romance, right? And then they did the kid comic at Scout, which I can't think of the name right now. Space Cadet, yeah, and they like hit it off, and like Jonathan told me, like they've got like a couple more deals like they're working on and stuff, and now they're back to, you know, have a short in this. So yeah, like this, like I know we're here to talk about John and you know, lift him up and remind everybody to like buy his book, but you guys should definitely hop on this. This looks fucking awesome. Like I would have missed this. I wouldn't have seen it if John wouldn't have invited you on and told me about it. Like, and I hound Kicks, like my fucking life is Kickstarter. Like
there's a lot out there. You know, Austin and I are actually part of a crowdfunding group chat where we talk all day and all night about how to help each other. So yeah, I'm, you know, of course when you said, hey, you know, invite some more people on, part of it was, you know, fear of you breaking down and, you know, crying on the show, and I didn't want to be by myself. But the other part of it was, you know,
I can't just talk to John. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
I know what your plan was, Blake. It's not going to happen. I need witnesses around. No, but part of it is, you know, I love being part of groups like that and everybody lifting each other up. It just, you know, this certainly there are things in the world that are much harder than making comic books. But
yeah,
you know, at the end of the day, when you really want, you know, to achieve something and you're working really hard at it, it can beat you down. This is not an easy industry to make it in, especially now. There's so many great books coming out all the time, which is awesome, but also, you know, can be frustrating. So again, being part of that group, knowing that Austin had a release, I also invited another buddy on. He wasn't able to. You know, I love being part of that and cheering each other on. I don't want to just be like, no, this is my show. We're talking about my book. You know, no, we all help each other. None of these books come out just because of the creative team. They come out because people like you and Austin and people sharing on Facebook and Twitter. There's so many people that make these dream projects come to life. Yeah. Why wouldn't I want, you know, to share it with someone else?
Yeah, Sarah Landauer's in the house. She was on the show last night. Had a blast talking about Glitch, which is live right now. And also another comic you should check out, which is just another just gorgeous, fun sci-fi, you know, romp in the future. Nice. Yeah, and it's just gorgeous. Like the colors are everything's just so bright and wonderful, and it's got a hell of a cliffhanger at the end. So I mean, like if it, there's no it does they're doing their Kickstarter's doing very well, and so there's no way that people are going to get that comic and not go for number 2. So I'm excited for them to see what else they bring. She also mentioned about the black and red, and Jeff mentioned in the chat too that it very much had that Sin City vibe. And yeah, it's those very, very smart choice to put that red in there over those like harsh, thick, Stefano inks, man. Like that's and you could get a fucking Stefano page for under $100. Like, dude, I'm about to get a second job and just fucking buy everything on this Kickstarter. Like, this is crazy.
Before we actually move on from Stefano, one of the first times I saw his art, somebody posted in a group, again, the community is small and tight. Mark Bertolini, he said he needed somebody to lead our project. Now, I don't often work for free anymore just because, time is precious and all that. You got your own books to make. But he told me, Stefano's going to do the art. Here, look at it. And another buddy of ours, Tor Dollhouse, he's going to color it. And in that case, I'll work for free. Because I just saw his art and I was like, I think I have an idea how I can do the lettering a little looser and chunkier, and I think hopefully it's supposed to come out from SourcePoint Prints next year. So I'm excited.
Oh.
I might actually have a lettering credit, another industry credit to my name. So yeah, when I saw Stefano's art, I was like, all right, I want to be part of this team. So I'll do.
I like SourcePoint. They're good. They're good people.
Yeah, they're certainly picking up a lot of good books. Like hopefully it's called The Wrath. Hopefully Mark and Stefano and Tor and I can get that published.
That's very cool, man. Yeah, this campaign is awesome. The campaign page looks good. Art looks good. All these covers look good. I mean, $30 for all 3 covers. Like, dude, I love Kickstarter. I really do. And but there's times it just gets a little too expensive, and these I'm like a $30 for all 3 covers, or the digital and individual like $7. Like that's not bad at all. That's like really that's Kickstarter competitive price.
Well, that's right there. Like John was saying, trying to figure the right price points for some of these things, but like for my last campaign, I did straight reward tiers with metal covers, and I had a few orders, so I'm like, And now I put it as an add-on. Like if you want to get a books, but if you want to get a metal, put it as an add-on. This way it's individual per person. Because when I found out printing wise, it's you can do one, it doesn't matter how many I thought. I didn't know. I was like, do I have to get minimum order? Like
some places do, yeah.
It's individualized. I'm like, very cool. So that's kind of like what I did. And honestly, man, I got so much original artwork. I'm like, I'm just going to start throwing them on Kickstarters. Like, these guys, some artwork. I don't mind. I've already gotten paid page rates. The little extra's fine with me. And it's like, I'll still do shows. And I'm like, oh, so you have any Iron Man art? I'm like, dude, that was like pre-sold. I wish I had some of my Iron Man stuff still. You know what I mean? Like, I don't keep art because I like selling it, not so much for money, but I like people that appreciate the artwork and they like to collect it. I'm all cool with that. You know what I mean? There's a few pieces I do kind of wish, like, man, I kind of wish I had that. So like, or that cover, you know what I mean? Like the first cover for issue 1 of Divine Retribution, which was with Second Sight Publishing. Gorgeous. The book sold out at Diamond. It did fantastic. And I've had 2 people like, so you want to sell the cover? I'm like, no, I'm going to keep that. That one I'm going to keep because that's pretty special. But other ones, zombie stuff, we'll see. Like I got asked one of the retailers, I'm doing a Grease themed zombie exclusive cover for their store.
Cool.
Sandy and
Danny.
And Danny, thank you. My wife is a big Grease fan. She's Danny.
Question from the chat. Jeff, who we mentioned has a great comic, Magic Powder. He's asking who you guys do your metal covers with.
So I will drop it in the chat for you, Jeff. This was recommended by another great champion of independent comics, Matt Knowles, where we met recently. He prints to them. I have not printed them yet, so I'm going off of his recommendation and the way his amazing covers look. So it's fairymetal.com.
Yeah, Fairy Mail, they're good people. I did Comic Impressions just because that's where I do my printing normally.
Yeah, and I hit them up too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hooked up with them because they Scout uses all them in my book. Stanley's through Scout, so I'm just and I live like literally got an hour and a half away, so I can just drive and pick the stuff up.
Oh,
that's
nice.
Huge. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, so that saves like money on shipping and everything like that too. But I do want to try Fairy. I've heard really good things about them, and if anyone orders one for this, then that's who I'm going to be using this time around.
I used to say metal covers. Okay, so I used to say I would never buy Funkos, right? And I was like, these are dumb. I don't get it. And then I started buying them, and then it got bad. I got like a lot of X-Men ones, and then that little fucking Baby Yoda motherfucker came out, and I keep buying those, right? They're just I love them. And then I've recently gotten really into manga and anime again. I mean, I used to watch anime as a kid, like on Cartoon Network after we got home from school and stuff. Like that's how I fell in love with Gundam. But I've just recently got into reading the books and watching the anime. It's kind of a trip to see like how they're like similar, but it's in motion with colors and everything. Anyway, I really got into that recently, and I forgot what I was talking about. That's cool. So Funko. So yeah. I want all the I really want the Jujutsu Kaisen Funko set, and I'm about to I really want to pre-order them, and it's stupid. Like I'm like, why are you buying toys? But anyway, I used to say I'd never buy them, and now I do. And I used to say I would never get a metal cover because I was like, that's insane. I it's cool, like it's fucking it's super dope, but like, I mean, it's there. Some of them are $80 or more, like depending on like if it's Kickstarter or a store exclusive or like from Scout. Well, I finally got one, and I got Kevin Cuff and Bob Francis Metal Shark Bro metal cover.
Oh, good ones.
And it's so but what still and I still feel like the universe like said fuck you for buying that, because like I pre-ordered the cover. I thought it was going to sell out. Nice. Just having those on deck. I love both of those guys. They're good people too. And they were my first creator interviews actually. And I got super fucking hammered because I was nervous. Anyway, I got it from Scout, right? And I figured it was going to sell out because everybody loves that comic, right? And there's less than 100 of these covers, and Scout's website moves a lot of variants. They're web store exclusives and shit, So I'm thinking like I got to get this thing or it's going to be gone, and it didn't get gone. And then like a week and a half later, one of the comic book burrito guys got it on like a holiday sale for like 50% off, and I was like, prick. I was like, but anyway, I still love it, and it's beautiful. And after getting it, and seeing one in person, I'm like, dude, I kind of want more of these, but I can't.
Like I said, I thought it was like the dumbest gimmick until I picked one up, and I was like,
until you see it, right? Yeah, it's totally different.
And I still struggle with that thing. Like it's hard to price point them, and you feel like people, a lot of our peers are suggesting like CGC in comics, because if a collector likes that, if they see your comic and they know it's a small run, that's up to them if they want to buy it. So I'm kind of coming around to that. I felt like, again, with this project, it fits with the theme. So metal, I don't know if I'll do it for every book, but that stuff is still hard for me. Even pricing a variant, I'm like, I feel bad, but it's part of the deal.
No, I feel like you're pretty, even on the Part-Time Comics website too, your comics are priced like real competitively. And your last Kickstarter I thought was cool too, because you let everybody because Drumsticks of Doom was going to ship about the same time as the 2 anthologies you just dropped, and you let everybody combine shipping on those two to even save a few bucks. I thought that was cool. So I mean, you've taken like comic book customer service up like another level, because that's, man, so I won't call people out and stuff, but like I got a Kickstarter the other day that was shipped in a white paper envelope, like no cardboard, nothing, and the corner was torn open. I could see the comic when I grabbed it out of the mailbox. I don't know how this thing survived. It was actually in good condition, but like, I mean, when I was like, man, this thing's gonna be annihilated. It did, and it came with a print. that was like blatantly printed on like a home printer, and it had like the print streaks in it, you know, like and that was kind of torn to shit in the envelope. But yeah, it's you know, I appreciate it when people go the extra mile, you know, in pricing and shipping with variants and stuff, and you know, and I think that's how you win on Kickstarter and build like a, you know, a good following. Like, you know, one of the Kickstarter, you know, one of the major Kickstarter players I think is you know, Charlie Stickney, and his when you buy his Wide Ash books, like he has custom cardboard mailers made, and like the interior has like this White Ash wallpaper shit inside, and
That's cool.
and like, you know, special tape and stickers and shit, and it's just like, and but you know what, those fancy cardboard mailers keep your shit safe too, so it's just, you know, it's just, you know, and I understand, you know, when you're dealing with like a 40, 50, $60,000 Kickstarter, things are different too,
Sure.
right? But I mean, a lot of people, when they get that, you know, kind of money too, they just kind of like pawn it off to a fulfillment center and are done with it, you know? And so like, I appreciate it as a consumer, you know, and especially when you're, even today, like there's still a lot of people that are like, I don't know about Kickstarter. It's expensive. I don't want to pay for shipping. I don't want to wait, you know, like there's still a lot of people that are like that like want to go to their shop on Wednesday or order something on Amazon. Right. And so I think, you know, guys like you who keep things, you know, priced as, you know, something you would want to buy and be able to buy, you know, and treat your fans well and ship your products well. And if there is a delay, you're honest about it. And if not, and you get the trains run on time and stuff, and you know, so you guys are doing it right, and I appreciate it. Long story short, I was going to keep rambling about bullshit. But, you know. And I know it's crazy, man. It's doing all that yourself. Like it's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be stressful. You guys just have like heartburn for like a whole month? Is it like, is that you're just like
diarrhea,
eating Tums?
Yeah, I had a full head of hair like before my last. It just went. I'm like, how is that? I woke up one morning. I'm like, well, there you go. Hey, let's do another one. I'm like, well, I mean, it's already half gone anyway, so let's just lose all of it.
At this point, yeah, everyone's like, God, how do you handle the anxiety? And it's like, once you get in the rhythm of it, now that I did take a couple years off after about a decade of doing comics. So yeah, once now I'm back in the rhythm, it's like, you know what? Again, there's certainly bigger problems in the world. If I don't fund, I'll figure out, you know, what we can do. And you just kind of have to keep that perspective. But yes, there are definitely a lot of long nights, Blake. So appreciate, you know, I mean, you see some of the shipping supplies behind me here still hiding out. Yeah, that's certainly, you know, we as small publishers, we can't compete with the big ones. You know, they just have, you know, the funds and everything to ship and do, you know, fancy packages. But what you can do is, like you said, pack them with care, control what you can, you know, ship on time, control the things that you can do as a small publisher, and don't worry about like, you know, all the bigger, you know, fancy things that you're not able to yet. And hopefully you'll build that backer confidence. You'll get there someday.
I do. I've seen other stuff too lately that's kind of interesting, like stamps. Like people are buying like, you know, like ink and press stamps, you know, with the logo on it, and like stamping the box a couple times. Or like I see a lot of like branded tape, thinking about Sarah's comment here, like and of course, you know, there's stickers and stuff you can put on the box, but like I do, like I remember the first time I opened a White Ash package and saw that, and I was like, what the fuck? And like, you know, and it's cool, right? But it's also like, why? And it's, you know, it's a box. As long as my comic books are, because I recycled the box. I didn't keep it. I can't just start keeping cardboard boxes, man. I got stacks of comic books everywhere. I can't have
Sir,
stacks
I will
of cardboard.
Show you my closet. You can keep cardboard. I recycle packaging. When I get a comic like that, I'm like, ooh, nice free Gemini mailer. I'm gonna recycle that. that's free money into the small business.
Well, yeah. If I was running campaigns, because I do get a lot of Gemini mailers in the mail. I keep some every now and then, like when I know if I like to do a giveaway, or sometimes when I think I'm going to sell something, but I never end up selling it. So I do have some. I just don't. And I keep bubble wrap a lot if I sell like to ship like a nice book and wrap it up or something, because bubble wrap's expensive. But yeah, but it's funny now. Like we're like branding these shipping boxes either with, like I said, like the custom tape, which is kind of cool, and it's got like, you know, you get a roll of it, it's got your logo on it, or like slapping a couple stickers on it. I mean, what do you guys think of that? Like, where are these trends coming from? Like, like I said, like a lot of us, like we just want you to use the Gemini mailer. Like just please, like we're begging, like please, just I know it's a little more expensive. We'll pay extra for it. We'll, add a little bit to shipping, but like just please, like make sure these comics get to us safely. And now we're decorating them, and it's interesting.
Even after like 10 years, to be honest with you, I just started using the Geminis. I preferred to use the Stay Flat mailers, and I would sit there and hand cut the cardboard from boxes to kind of reinforce the package. But now I am trying to get with the trends. But as far as like the branding packaging, I think that's coming from just good marketing, right? You want people, like you said, you'll never forget that white ash package. You open. I like getting the package. Like you said, Birdcage Bottom Books does a cool custom mailers and stuff like that. So when you see it, you get excited. And you see the logo. I think that's just good marketing. It does add extra costs, so we can't all do it, but I think there are a lot of places doing that. It's just fun, sometimes it's fun to, when I get a logo sticker for my company, I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
I want to do stuff like that.
What about you, Austin? Do your boxes come like you put like glitter and shit on them? You draw pictures on them? Like you just ship them the comic?
Well, my wife has a lot of glitter, so like a pixie does them all, and kind of like do the pixie bombs in the face. What I do is I put a very personalized like note.
Oh, cool.
Thanks for doing it, a little signature or something like that. Or if my packages are running late, I'm like, hey, sorry for the delay. Appreciate your patience like that. Your support's amazing, whatever. And just that's kind of what I do. But yeah, Gemini mailers are just like the way to do things. Unfortunately, I was one of those guys. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get the white envelopes. That'll be easy because it fits right in there. And I'll do some cardboard. I'm like, this really sucks. I wish there was something better. And then I'm like, oh, there you go. We can do this instead. You know what I mean? And it's just the difference.
And you know what? Those envelopes end up costing 40, 50 cents each. So really the Geminis, if you get a decent amount, I know not everybody can do it. I'm not saying every comic, but if you don't, do make sure you put some sort of cardboard, something in there to reinforce it. Because like Blake said, I mean, I've gotten comics, it happens, right? The corners get things, you can't always control the post office.
Right.
But certainly, when you just ship it in the white, no padding envelope, it's like, that doesn't make me want to come back.
But I will say with Geminis, what I do, and I know that do it is I use paper tape. So when I put the book in there, before I even fold it up, I'm taping two sides so it stay put. Once the flap in, I tape the sides down, even though it's closed up. That keeps it kind of blocked in. So even there's a lot of jostling, the books just won't move at all. They're going to be pretty stationary. So unless it gets dunked in water or like, someone does something really bad to it, hopefully it kind of keeps to it. But like I saw the branding, like the envelopes with your logos and everything. Jonathan Hendrick did that with the zombie series that he did. Wait, what the hell? He had the tape and he had the bag with the logo, the name on it. I'm like, this is freaking amazing. I'm like, this is cool, but I just want the book. I'm like, just if it's safe, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'll throw stuff away and we'll recycle whenever,
I will say that the best thing I can tell you, the life hack for all you comics fans out there, whether you're a creator, buyer, whatever, in between, go to your hardware store and get an extra large size mailbox. And all those single issues you get will prevent a lot of your bending. I had my mailbox fall over, went and got one, and I said, oh, this one's huge. And sure enough, like even just shipping from home, if I need to ship something, I sell something to a web store, I can just plop it in there. I don't have to run into the post office or whatever. And then getting books has really helped because my post worker was not kind all the time. So do yourself a favor, invest a couple extra dollars when you need a new mailbox, get that extra wide mailbox.
Oh, dude, we're lucky. Our post office guy, he's awesome. He puts my wife. So my wife's a crafter. She's amazing. She does all these different crafting things. So daily we have packages put on. So now my mail guy with all my comic book stuff, he just puts it on the stuff with the rest of that. And he doesn't even go into the mailbox itself. It's just kind of a habit he's kind of gotten into. But yeah, that makes perfect sense. And a little bit larger of a mailbox will take care of all those issues,
Or take care of your mailman, leave him a tip or something around the holidays, leave him something out there. Hopefully he'll be kind to you.
You don't even.
Yeah, I've had good luck. I've never had any. I've definitely seen like pictures people post of like really, and it's like you know, like angry and like how much you would have to try as a mailman to like fold a Gemini mailer. But I've seen pictures of that of like them like shoving it in, you know, and it's like shit. But I've had good luck. I used to have bad luck in that my mail would get delivered to somewhere else or not show up or get lost. Like I've had some stuff get lost, but yeah, luckily things you know, things are better now. And I used to get stuff shipped to my work when I was still in office, but like now I work from home. So
Be Kind has a question about media mail, I think.
oh, let's see. Oh yeah. So do you guys what kind of services and stuff do you use when you mail out or when you fulfill your shipment?
I do priority. I have my mail price accordingly for cost, specifically for priority mail. This way, like if I run behind and I'm a little bit late on my campaigns, that's one thing I don't have to worry about. It's all 2-3 days or 1 to 4 days to kind of go from there. I know the benefits of media mail because I did it when I first did my first couple of Kickstarters. You can definitely save money, but now, before it was just, well, we're not sure if you can mail comic books with media mail. Now they're shutting it all down. Now they've raised prices. I don't know what they're doing with it. And I said, no, I don't even worry about that. Just priority is the way to go. And I do pirate ship, and my wife taught me about pirate ship, and it's been so nice.
Yes.
What's
That's
that?
Another tip for your pirate ship is a shipping program where you can get, it's free. Pirateship.com. You can get discounts. You can batch print, like take your Excel spreadsheet, put it in there. It'll print the 40 labels for you. It's amazing. It's free. It's awesome. They have great discounts on international because they ship to a pirate ship location and then ship everything out international.
Yeah.
I almost exclusively the last 12 or 13 years, Jeff, have used media mail. I use priority for more expensive items. I'll use first class for more expensive items once in a while. But 90% of the, 5,000 books that I've sent out in the last 10 years has been media mail. I do not have a lot of issues with it. I've rarely ever, I can still count on one hand the number that were open and they told me this doesn't meet media mail's requirements. I'll take that risk because it saves so much money for me and the backer. But there is other issues with it. If a media mail package gets rejected, you have to pay for it to be shipped back.
They've opened stuff too, because I guess what the deal is like if a comic book has advertisements in it, which like single issues do, right? Typical big two single issues have advertisements, and so you can't ship that as media mail, but you can ship graphic novels because the graphic novels and omnibuses and stuff don't have ads. But yeah, like with that comic book confusion, like the Postal Service has opened some of these boxes too, and then even if it passes the test, they oftentimes don't repack them as nicely as you would have packed them. So like I've heard horror stories about that, and then other horror stories where like you get your comic book shipment and they're like, hey, you owe us like $30 or so, like, and then you're like, what? Fuck you, already paid for this. So yeah,
anybody that's happened to, they contact me, we square up, we deal with it. Again, I think overall it's saved so much for the backers and myself.
Yeah,
I'm going to continue using it, but most independent comics don't have ads, so they do meet media mail requirements. So go ahead and use media mail, especially if it's your single issue and you don't want someone to pay $8 for shipping for a single issue. You know what? Go ahead, send it media mail. Again, if 1 out of 100 gets lost or whatever, you know what? You eat the cost. You move forward. Yeah. I think overall, again, I've rarely ever had a problem with it. I've rarely ever had a backer contact me and say my post office says I owe them $3.49. If they do, I'll square it up. And again, nice. I don't think they've ever opened it. When I go to the counter, they rarely ever ask. If they ask, I say it's books, and we move on with our life. I've had good experience with USPS and using media mail.
That's cool. Yeah, I usually when I ship, I just ship priority too. But I'm not fulfilling a Kickstarter campaign, right? That's just if I like sell some comics or send something to a friend.
Right. Priority is really out of control right now too, but I definitely respect those who are doing it because it definitely adds some safety, and you get free insurance with priority.
Well, and then some people buy the prepaid envelopes and then put the Gemini in that. So like you pay for that post office envelope, and it's like whatever you can cram in there it's covered under that cost. Yeah, there's so much weird. Like I would really like to make a comic one day. And I know I also need to like, I say this and I need to like write, and actually do it too. But like the idea, like the excitement of like talking to you guys and watching your Kickstarter campaigns, and like I want that. I want that stress, I want to experience that and make a book.
Yeah,
right.
Sometimes stress is good. I take the plunge. Comics is like the one medium, like Austin mentioned, like acting and movies and things like that. Very difficult to do on your own. You need big budgets. But comics has such a low barrier to entry. Why wouldn't you at least try? You know what? If after 6 months you make this 20-page comic and it's not any good, then you move on with your life. You make another one. Yes, there is a cost to it. I don't want to say there's none. I mean, your time, if you're paying artists and things like that, it can add up. But really, this is the one medium where we can all participate. And if you have an idea and you work hard enough, you can see it through and do that. But Jeff did also mention, don't put the branding on your box. That happened to a buddy of mine. He was all excited about, like you were talking about, Blake stamping his logo, comic books. And that got his media mail opened because it looked like advertisement on the package. So don't do that if you're gonna use media mail.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm looking at stickers. I'm about to. I kind of want to make some Blake's Buzz stickers, and I'm looking at, especially since I launched the Patreon. I don't know if I know we're not here to talk about me, but patreon.com/Blake's Buzz. There's you can sign up for my Patreon. I'm going to launch an exclusive. There's a Hive Mind newsletter I'll be doing twice a month, where I kind of just talk about life, and a lot of people want me to talk about cooking, and so like it's going to be centered around comic books too, and then behind the scenes Blake's Buzz stuff, and you're gonna be able to know like who I'm interviewing and fun stuff before like I release the podcast. And then at the highest tier, 2 times a month, I'm going to do the honey pot, which is the sweet spot for comic book news, and I'm going to do that 2 times a month for the high Patreon tier. See how that goes. Hopefully I don't drive myself fucking crazy. But yeah, my friend, I got talked into it, right? I was like, who the fuck am I to do a Patreon? And like some other comic book creators they're like, dude, you do a lot for free. And like, just, try it and see what happens. And so I did. And like, so yeah, it's like people are signing up for it. It's crazy. StreamYard costs money every month, and then I use Canva Pro to make like my promo art and stuff. And so like those are 2 hefty subscription bills, and those are now covered via Patreon costs. So like that's pretty dope. Right. So like that gets paid for. Like so I can now say my podcast actually makes money. I'm not in because I think through my podcast network I get like $2 a month for like for ad revenue, right? And
nice.
And so like, but so yeah, so it's kind of cool. Blake's Buzz makes a little money, and I'm excited to do kind of more stuff and reach out to fans in a different way, and hopefully this comic news things. I think it might be fun. I don't know. Cool. Like I said,
stickers is good. It's always a good reward. I have a buddy whose podcast I follow, and every couple months he sends you a sticker for how many months you contribute. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at stickers, and I think a Blake's Buzz bookmark would be kind of cool too, right? Like just something. So yeah, it's nothing crazy, but yeah, and I'm starting to like look at stickers and shit, and then I'm like, and then I'm like stressing to thinking about mailing stickers, right? And I'm like, man, what if I mail like 100 stickers out to people, and then like. And then I'm like, oh, what? And then I think about you guys, and you guys are mailing like hundreds of comics out. Like, I'm like,
you only need the 1 stamp for the sticker. So yeah,
yeah.
Make sure
one's in the house.
We can definitely recommend a lot of places. I use Sticker Mule a lot. I've used Contagious Graphics to print.
Yeah, I've heard
stickers.
Sticker Mule.
If you're doing like 1 color stickers, you can find a lot better places. If you're not doing die cut, you're just doing like a square or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of information we can give you on that. Bookmarks are pretty easy.
Sean Barber's in the house. Thanks for stopping by, sir. Good to have you.
Sean Barber, the inker, co-creator of Belial, who you had on yesterday.
He was on the show yesterday that I didn't know he was coming on the show. Yeah, he Chuck said he told me. I don't remember. I was like, because I definitely didn't have his name on the promo art, like a big asshole. So sorry about that, Sean. But yeah, it was awesome to have you. Like I said, everybody had a good chat last night, and then we talked for like 2 hours, and then I think I got off. After we got off the air, like we were up till like it was like 2 o'clock or something. We were just all like chatting, having a good old time. And so yeah, it's. It was super fun. Yeah, Belial's fucking dope too. It's another solid Kickstarter campaign going on right now. We got kind of a demonic theme with Drumsticks of Doom and Belial. It's a good
It is that time of year, and for people who don't know, Sean's partner in crime, Chuck Pino Grigio, was nice enough to let us have a digital copy. If we make it to 100 backers, we're already almost there. So you'll get a free copy of that. But please, I dropped the link in the chat. If you don't know about Belial, the original creator of Hell has gotten lazy over the years, lost his crown, and now he wants it back. It's very funny. I regret that I had put off for a while. I think I backed it digitally, and you know how digital books go, right?
Yeah, into the ether.
Yeah. But then I picked it up from Chuck in person, and I read it, and I was like, oh wow, this book is great. It's delightful.
Very funny.
Hey Chuck, you want to cross over with my book that's kind of about hell coming to earth? So yes, all you have to do is back. Even if we don't reach our goal, you're going to get Chuck and Sean's book in digital form. But please, if you like, what you read, they're on Kickstarter for another 19-20 days. But go back it now.
Yeah, it's really funny, really well done. And just like it's like Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Hell, kind of like there's this he like owns this bar and he's like got these schemes and it's good. I love Link, like he's just this little pervy little asshole, and he's just I don't know, he's I love it. It's fun. I had a lot of laugh out loud moments. Now when I say like laugh out loud reading a comment, I'm not like but like there's a lot of times where if something's kind of funny, right, you'll be like and it's like, or you kind of smile a little bit, and like, but there's like legit like a couple moments where like I'm reading Belial and I'm like, like and it's like does actually produce chuckling, and it's just the jokes land, art's fun, it's dirty and pervy and
it's
and
the
there's
real
some
deal.
Yeah, it's ready to go. And speaking of Kickstarters, I have noticed that this number has gone up a few since we've been live. So I do know
at least 4 backers.
There has been a handful of backers during the show. So I did not entirely waste John's time. So that's good. That's what
thank you all. Yeah,
we are legit a successful launch party. We have induced backers for John's campaign, which I would also like to point out real quick that Drumsticks of Doom is a project we love. I love it. You love it. We love it, baby. Kickstarter loves it. So that's fucking dope. That's always good to have on launch day to get that going for you. It's a good sign.
Absolutely. I only had one project get that in the first 10 years. So now to have the last couple starting to get it in a row is really cool.
Does anybody know what the algorithm on that or like how they decide that? I've kind of wondered if anyone's like broken that mystery.
I know in the group chat, Austin, a lot of people saying they've been giving it more liberally, so maybe I shouldn't be so excited. But I think if you,
no? So
never.
You should feel it. Yeah, no.
Oh wow.
No, and it's interesting because you'll see some people that get it like every single campaign. And I'm like, what's wrong with mine?
Well, you can email them too, like people have told us before, and kind of hound them about it. Hey, check out my thing, and then they'll tag you with it because I don't know, they feel bad telling you no. I haven't had to do that yet though, so I feel really good.
Man, if they just don't like it outright,
exactly. That's how I feel. It doesn't give you a ton of traffic in general, so I want to kind of earn the badge,
Yeah, I remember when I got the super backer badge after I think it was after 100 Kickstarters back. Yeah, but I was like, ooh, what's this mean? And it really doesn't mean anything. I'm pretty sure they just send you more fucking emails. I get so many fucking. I need to make a new. Well, I guess I need to change my email for Kickstarter and set up just a Kickstarter Gmail just for that and get that out of my inbox.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I'm full of them, John. That's how. That's
idea machine.
That's how Blake's Buzz happened, man. It's just like I just shit out ideas and piss excellence. It's amazing. But yeah, no, I'm super glad that Drumsticks is getting some good vibes. Now, as someone and both you guys have made or are making comics, have made comics, so after that, when you launch that new number one, right, that new series, that new idea, I feel like that's got to be pretty freaky, right? And then you know, of course it funds and you get happy, right? But then like people still haven't read it, you know, and then you maybe you send out your first wave of review copies, you know, before everything gets printed and stuff, and then hopefully, you know, you get the good vibes and things start feeling better, you know. Does the second campaign of a new, like a number 2 issue, does that feel easier, or are you nervous again? Like, are people gonna, like, did they like it enough to come back for number 2, or is it kind of the opposite of that? You're like, yeah, they like number 1. I feel like we're in a good place.
I think with me, my first one was a graphic novel, so I didn't jump into Lake, which is a comic book, like 100-page graphic novel. So like mine was not easy to begin with. I'm like, oh, interesting. A graphic novel was my first one, which was like
the hardest thing ever.
Well, we got funded, which was great. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now we got to do it again. So I learned more from the first one, the second one. So the stress wasn't quite there, but I upped the ante at how much I needed. That's the thing. If you stay with a certain number that you are pretty confident you can hit, you'll be okay after you've done a few campaigns. But if you need more money, then you're like, gosh, Jesus, because we're told like go low, and then a lot of people in the stretch goals will get you really up there high. And I'm thinking, mine's never really done that. Like I've got like 150, 200 backers. I'll get 150% funded. That's pretty much it. And I'm okay with that because I price accordingly. So yeah, to answer your question, like the second one was very stressful for me because I upped how much I had asked from the first one. So I could make sure, because the first one I didn't make money at all. It cost me thousands because I didn't know. I didn't realize printing it was all brand new to me. So the second one I learned, and luckily the second one we actually did get funded, which was super cool. But it was so stressful. Oh my God, I was just but what John said earlier is like, now I'm just like, you know, if it doesn't fund, okay, we'll take a step back. We'll figure out what didn't quite work, and then we'll just relaunch in a few months, and then hopefully people who did back it before, let them know we're going to relaunch, we're going to tweak some things, and then they jump right on, and then it usually does even better than what you were hoping for, which was crazy.
Yeah, the new one seems to be in a good place. You got over 2 weeks, over 3/4 of the way there, 40 backers. You know, now you've been on this show, you're good to go after that. I'm pretty sure.
It's good, solid gold. I mean, he's got high. The hard part to predict is Austin has a good backer amount, but he has a high average backer pledge. So that puts him in a really good. So now if like people would just start to get the digital in the issue, you know, he's still moving forward. So yeah, that's a good place. But you can't predict that kind of stuff. You just never know. So I think you have to be reasonable with your goals. If you're not, you know, shooting for, you know, 20 grand for your first book, or whatever, or you have, you know, a $2,000 one, and then you try to jump to an $8,000 one. You know, you got to be smart with your goals.
No, you have to raise it organically on what's going to work and what's not going to work, or have some reward tiers that are so mouthwatering, people just fall over trying to go ahead and buy those tiers. You know what I mean? That's again, it's all cultivating and trying to build your network and kind of go from there. But I've done 2 Kickstarters. I've done my zombie one, and then I did a Kickstarter for my Snowman one before it got picked up. The people that like my Snowman comic, but for some reason they didn't like my zombie books. I don't quite understand that. It should be cross-promoting. They're all dead.
It's all written by you.
They're all animated things. They should just for some reason it didn't happen. So.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do.
Part.
Oh, sorry, John.
No, I was going to say that's a difficult part too. Issue 1 to 2, you don't know. Series to series, you don't know who's going to come over. It can be very difficult. I haven't launched too many long-running series, so I'm excited to see how I do with series like this and Depowered going into more issues as I go forward. But yeah, it doesn't always make you really confident just going in issue 2 just because you had success in issue 1. It might take a little bit of the edge off when you know you've gotten to a certain amount, but still never easy each time you hit that launch button.
No.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine making a zombie book right now, and sometimes zombie and like post-apocalyptic stuff, like even with the timely seasonal release of this, like you got to really kind of amp up your game to step out or to stand out of the crowd, you know, with the zombie narratives, which, you know, you're doing, I think, with the creatives that are, you know, it's kind of an anthology. It's the timeliness of the release, the absolutely gorgeous covers and artists and stuff that you have going into it, you know. So like, but I just, you know, not everybody can pull that off. So like, I do like to be able to do, like, to drop a zombie comic and a zombie comic on Kickstarter. You know, like, it's, you know, and you're succeeding. Like Kevin Joseph's Kickstarter math says that he's like, if you get, as long as you get over 50%, like very rarely does a Kickstarter get over 50% and not fund. You know, like it'll have that dead period, right, for a few weeks or a couple weeks and then pick back up at the end. But it's just very rarely does something go over 50% and stay there. And it's, so he's like, you're usually safe in that regard. So I mean, like, looking at your project, it's going to fund, and you know, hopefully you get some cool add-on. You've got like awesome original art variants, some cool stuff going on. So yeah, hopefully get that money, baby. Like, let's do it.
It was with the nice thing that a lot of fans like the comic book is it's unique because it's telling who these people were before they finally ended up becoming zombies themselves. And very relatable stories. And they're funny. It's a PG-13 rated book. It's not R. It's not super graphic because we want the teenagers who buy the not just comic books but the video games, and they can show their parents like, well, I played this video game. The comic book's in the same genre, and when it comes to violence and gore or whatever, so that works too. Two, I do 20 days on my Kickstarters. I couldn't do 30 days. Oh my God, that was driving the stress alone. Get it over with. You know, 20 days is perfectly good with me. So I think that helps a lot too. And I'm fortunate that I've got stores now involved that like carrying my books. I'm lucky in my respect that I consider myself an indie person. You know, even though I worked for Marvel and everything like that, when I first got into comic books, my first book I created and I wrote was called Seventh Millennium, was based on my D&D characters back in '94 through Alec. And I sold it through Diamond and Capital, and I made a profit on it. So I'm an indie guy first. You know, I always wanted to work for Marvel and DC. You know, I was lucky to work on Iron Man. I was lucky to work on X-Men for Marvel, which was amazing. I worked with Bob Layton and Iron Man the end in his studio, which is just, dude.
That's awesome.
Oh, I never knew that. Oh, that's awesome.
I worked with Jay Leeson helping on you know, Tomb Raider or whatever. So I've had my toes and everything like that, but there's something to be said about creating and writing your own stuff. And I wanted to work with other publishers because I like the collaborative aspect, and I had got that with Scout and with Scoot and all of them involved. But having books through publishers can help you as an independent publisher putting your own stuff out too, because a lot of people recognize your name. They might not like what you're doing, but they can see the quality and they'll give it a little bit more of a chance. At least that's what's happened with me. And that's why I think the zombie thing kind of has worked the way it has, and has been somewhat successful. It's a love or hate sort of thing. You know what I mean? There's no liking it. It's like either you love it or you hate it. I've learned so much about the horror genre, dude, and the sub-horror, you know, text and everything like that. People love zombies or they hate zombies. They just there's no in between whatsoever. You know what I mean? You know, the slasher films, people like their own certain slashers, but by and large, they'll take any slasher films or, you know, like Terrifier and or they'll do that sort of thing.
We're easy lays, slasher folk.
I just wrote and directed a film called The Killer and the Dead. I did it for it's a challenge, and I have created my own killer, and it's two girls and a slasher, and he's going to get them, and then it's the start of the zombie apocalypse, and that's how, and it gets launched into that.
Nice.
I've got a production company that just wants to start talking to me about making it into a feature film.
Nice.
Yesterday, just because it's horror stuff and people love this sort of thing. You know, it's funny. Anyway, I don't know the answer. I just blathered blatant.
Oh, hey, that's I've
kind
I
of the
talked.
theme of the show.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know that.
we just we spiral and talk out our asses and hope we can get John and you a couple pledges for your campaigns. That's if we do that and don't get canceled, it's a success.
And I know a lot of people that watch the shows are fellow creators like Austin and I, but so I don't need to tell you, but I do always like to say on here, we understand. A lot of people like Blake will say, oh my God, money's tight, I can't bet. Don't ever apologize. We understand. There's a million things you can do if you want to help. The first and foremost, share it out. That's very difficult on social media right now to get through the algorithms.
Dude,
those shares
so
really help, especially for the people right after you back. When you say I just backed, that really helps. But if you can't, hit that share button. Facebook and Twitter, it takes a few seconds on your phone or on your screen. That really, 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 really helps. The other thing too is, if you do back, fill out those surveys, get your address correct. And I will say, if anybody can take anything away, I get it. You can't always use your own identity on sites for whatever reason. But when your name is different than your name will be on the shipping label, that makes it very difficult to figure out what's supposed to go in your package. So if this message could be sent out to all the people, please use your same name if you can. I mean, I know there's reasons, people don't, but but those things, sharing, telling people, just that kind of support. It actually probably goes a lot further than the individual backs do. It really helps.
Yeah. It's because there's a lot of cool stuff out there that people just don't see. As I mentioned earlier, like I'm very involved in Kickstarter, and I'm I'm getting more and more well known in the community, and but both people approach me and I approach creators and stuff, and to come on the show or talk cross promotion shit or whatever. And I totally missed Austin's deal, and I've been talking to I'm doing like a guinea pig deal with Jonathan Hedrick about doing like this kind of like putting Kickstarter commercials on the show, or like airing a Kickstarter trailer during the live show, and kind of like playing around. I'm basically just trying to fucking whore myself out and turn myself into a walking billboard is basically what I'm trying to do in my life right now. But I even like talked to him and stuff, and we've been talking, and like he didn't mention, he told me he was working with Stefano again. Like
he didn't say anything about my Kickstarter.
He'd say we don't like sit and have like tea parties and shit and like really get into each other's lives or anything. So it's not like we don't talk like a ton. But yeah, it's just it's just funny.
Social media is weird too, because we probably comment to each other every other day or so, on one of the platforms, and I've shared Austin's thing half a dozen times, and you didn't see it me either.
That's weird,
because they just squash anything with a link or anything. It just gets totally crushed, and it's
really I make lists, right? And so like I have lists for like writers and artists and letterers and shops and stuff. And I need to make a list of like people I enjoy communicating with, like an actual friends list. But I'm bad. Like I don't even use the own lists that I make. I don't do a lot of doom scrolling. Like usually I get on, I'll scroll a little bit, and then post a podcast announcement or so. I try and not get too wrapped up in shit, because it's so easy to just lose like an hour of my time, and do that like several times a day, not just I'm not just losing 1 hour. I'm like, oh shit, I got to get back to this book, and then I read one issue, and then I check my notifications on my phone, and then I'm like, oh it's midnight, fuck, what do I do? And anyway, I try not to be on there too much, but yeah, the algorithm shit is weird, and this new like double posting that I now feel like I have to do, where you do the post and then you add the link to it.
Yep.
And and I do think that helps, but it fucking takes it. And now it takes another minute. It's harder to do on your phone to like copy the link and from on like another page, and then like add it to the second tweet, especially if you're trying to like hit that Kickstarter share button and add that into a subtweet. Yep. It's a way easier to do with a keyboard and mouse on a desktop. You can do it on your phone. It's just a slight pain in the ass. But yeah, I do like for my own stuff now too. Like I had to do this like subtweet link in comments, and it's like, I guess it's helping. And then I have to do that on I do that on Facebook and then Twitter, and then I put something on Instagram, and Instagram's fucking weird anyway, because you can't put links there unless you add it to your story, and I don't fuck with stories. I don't have time for that shit, man. Social media. So I wish I would consider myself successful if like I could put out my podcast and people knew me and I wouldn't have to just slut it up on Twitter and stuff all the time, right? Like if I didn't have to, like, if I knew people were going to still check out my content without like overly reminding them about it, like I'd be like, man, you did something with your life.
Yeah, it is frustrating. I mean, I get it. Twitter doesn't owe me anything, right? I don't pay for the service. Facebook, same. I get that, but it is very frustrating that you can't better curate your feed to see who you want and be seen a little bit better in certain circles. But even email lists, man, those get suppressed too. Like, I don't know where they go, but I don't get any clicks. I have 1,000 people on the email list. I get like 6 clicks per campaign sent out.
Spam now that with Gmail has an automatic spam. It automatically dumps the spam that goes through their algorithm and filter, and hopefully if you have 1,000 people, if you're lucky to get 50 people to actually really see it. Otherwise, sometimes it gets dumped into the spam folder. Sometimes it just won't even go through. It's
I get a lot of bounce backs. Yeah. So that's difficult too. I mean, that's the thing too. If you want to support people, make sure you favorite or make sure you mark their email as not spam. So part-time-comics with an X at gmail.com, please mark us not spam.
Do you guys do I was about to ask, you mentioned mailing lists and stuff. Do you guys do newsletters?
I don't, just like updates, before, in the middle of, and after a campaign. If I have a new book coming out outside of a campaign, I'll send stuff out. I should get into a regular rhythm, like once a month, at least trying to do that.
Yeah. My agent told me I need to start doing that now that I've gotten more film stuff, credits, whatever, compared and with the comic book thing too, just to kind of let people know what's going on. Because like 6-7 years ago, I didn't use Twitter or Instagram. And then it's like, well, you should like post when you're at shows and stuff. I'm like, okay. And I post like, oh, people like my stuff. And then like after the show, like 2 days later, I'll post something like that and get like 2 likes. I'm like, man, I understand. Okay. So I did used to do emails way back in the day when I got a lot of response, working in graphics and, bulk mail and email blasts and all that sort of thing. That was really, really big.
Austin, where will we find you on Twitter, bud?
A. Janowski 2002. Yep. So to answer your question, I'm going to start doing it again. Just kind of like a weekly thing to let people know what's going on. So like if like there's one of my films premiering or streaming, launching a streaming or comic book or bookstores, like my Stanley's going to be in bookstores in late October now. It got pushed. Yeah. But again, that's time and energy to put into an email that hopefully
that's the challenge, right? It's like, I started using TikTok and it's okay, but I get it. Some people get a lot of response on there, but is the time invested worth it? We have to weigh that at the end of the day because there is only so much time. And obviously, Austin's mentioned he's got a lot going on too. So he's we don't always have time to slow down and figure out a new social media and how to get yourself out there. You just got to kind of hope that if people like your stuff, they'll share it with each other and voice their excitement.
Yeah, I keep thinking about getting on TikTok, and it ends up being a think. And I've tried to, it's like editing videos makes me fucking nervous. But when I went and launched my own podcast, I didn't know anything about doing a podcast. I got online and I read how to make a podcast, and then I learned how to use Audacity very minimally, and then which is a free audio editing software. And then I kind of learned how to edit, and I don't edit much anyway. I'm not one to I don't when I do that, when I'm like I don't cut that out. I don't cut out my ums and stuff. I'm not that like anal about it. But I did learn how to do like a couple passes on the filter to make the audio cleaner and remove background noise. Like this stuff I've had to learn how to do. I remember one of my early episodes, I had the writer and artist on, and Easton DeVerna had a really bad internet connection, and he dropped out and came back in, and I had to patch and edit his audio to where it like didn't mess up. And I was up till 4:00 in the morning and had to work the next day. And I think, and this is like I said, real new, like didn't know much about it still. And it like, oh man, and then now finally, like usually now if I if I listen to the whole thing, I try to listen to the whole thing. Sometimes I'll jump around a little bit. And I listen to it like at 1.5, so it sounds like little hamsters talking to you. But like I usually it takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to edit a podcast, make the promo, upload it, post, like do all that. And and I'm still like not super fast at it, but I taught myself how to do all that. And now I know, and holy shit. Oh God. Sorry. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, I think the Chiefs just won. Anyway, so
full circle.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean
but TikTok makes me nervous. Like for some reason, like when I watch a YouTube video or something about editing video and stuff like that, I like freeze up and I'm like, I can't do it. Oh,
yeah.
Like
it's a lot. Like, and that's the other thing too about making comics. Like, I wish I could just write the comics, work with the writer, but like I said, out of necessity and control, I learned how to letter. Now I'm learning how to flat. You gotta, sometimes you gotta learn to color. I mean, Austin's mentioned he does it all. But then you also have to learn all that other stuff, social media and how to use these apps and how to edit video software. Like you said, I have to do the promo videos and make them look semi-professional. And, that's super frustrating to me because like the app I was using, got outdated and, I tried to update to another one, but that has a learning curve. It's like, you got to know shipping websites and all these different things. And it's like, to be in self-publishing, it is a lot to learn to be efficient and not feel like you're wasting hours. Which we have families and friends and lives and work.
No, I don't have any of that. I have work.
Like somebody yelling in the other room about the Chiefs thing.
No, I know. I'm being stupid. But yeah, it's a lot and it gets crazy. Have you guys ever thought about like the webcomic life? Like I recently got into that with Witch Creek Road and DC's got like a new Bat Family webcomic and it's kind of I have that nice new tablet now, right? So I really don't mind reading digitally. Like it's like a whole new that OLED screen, like it just makes shit pop and it looks great. But
I love webcomics. I've read I haven't read as many in recent years. I kind of started around the boom of webcomics.
Really?
My first two comics were webcomics, but
cool.
Yeah, I kind of did it for a couple of years and didn't really get the traction that I wanted. And I still am, an old school fan or whatever you want to say. I still like the print medium in itself, but it's definitely something I'm very interested in. I know people can be insanely successful on there and definitely for some of my older books, I think about kind of dusting them off and just putting them online so they can get, still be out there in the archives.
Doing the digital PDFs and everything of comic books for Kickstarters was something Justin Gray kind of taught me how to, set those up so they're high quality so you can, tablets and all that sort of thing. Like when the webs first came out, like Webtoons and all that sort of things that are now, I'm old school. And I've done this for so long that I'm happy staying in my lane right now. There's a whole lot.
I get that.
And that's a whole like, no, I don't want to, that's really cool and everything, but no, that's, yeah. But I respect it. And there's a lot of people that do some really cool stuff, but I'm okay with doing what I'm doing, I guess.
Yeah. And even then, even a lot of people that do web comics they're coming to Kickstarter later for like print editions or for like a trade or an omnibus or something like that, right? Like, so it's even when you like go, the different route of something, it's, you always come back. It's like they always come back home, back to where the Substack, right? The same thing. Substack fucking blew up and they gave out all those grants and there's all these, big time comic book pros on Substack, dropping these like PDFs, 3 or 4 times a month. And what are they doing now? They're starting to come back and talking about printing this stuff. And Chip Zdarsky's new book is releasing through Image, right? And like that was his Substack baby. So like all this stuff's getting printed again. Comixology originals usually get sold to Dark Horse and they print their trades, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't understand comics.
People always love paper, but there is different. You have different avenues. Like you could just do it on the web. Our variant cover artist for Drumsticks of Doom, Kaylin Smith, she's insanely successful on why can I not remember the name of the major site, Webtoons. Yeah, she's done amazingly well there. So yeah, I definitely get it. There's definitely an audience for it, and certain people latch onto things. And then if you want to, like you said, you can print. I mean, Brian K. Vaughan did the Private Eye and other books that were supposed to be digital only, and he said, yeah, you know what? We're going to go in paper. So again, when you're your own boss, that's the cool part. He's not.
You do whatever you want. Yeah.
So it is cool. It's like tomorrow I could say, you know what, Blake's right. You know what, printing this shit is for the birds. It's on digital only. You know, we did just do a book, digital only. We were
you just I can't think of the name of it. Right, the Child Possession Services.
Yeah,
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
We did for a while actually with Kingbone Press. We did digital only because printing was so much, and Kickstarters weren't quite the support we needed to print everything. But I've done that avenue before. When Comixology had the Submit program, it was amazing. We used to do pretty well on there.
Yeah, a lot of people were mad that went away.
Yeah,
that was one of the big changes as of recent, right? Was they took that away, right?
Yeah. What did they take away?
Comixology Submit, where you were able to submit as a publishing company, your independent books. We wouldn't sell a ton, but half a dozen books a year is something.
They're not doing that anymore?
No, they took it away when they.
Yeah, when they like accosted it with Kindle and rebranded everything.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was like, they didn't want to go through contracts or they didn't want to, move books over. But yeah, they could have left them up, but they took them all down and said, "You're out."
That's crazy.
That was a huge
how did your Child Possession Services digital comic go? I know because it was like $2. I remember it was a very solidly priced digital issue, and when I saw that cover, I was actually kind of bummed that it was digital. I like buying your stuff anyway, but like I was like, I want that cover's fucking sexy, man. And then I was like, oh, it's digital. But then I was like, oh, it's $2. I mean, we got $2,
but yeah, sir. It did not do as well as I had hoped. I was hoping with all the backers that we had with the first issue, but the idea is to put out a couple digital first issues and then collect it. So, there might be some other people come back around, but it just getting people to go to your website is very difficult. Like I posted in the Kickstarter, hey, 157 of you who back CPS, new digital issue coming out, only got, a dozen or so people.
Wow.
But, again, that's how it goes. Like when I did the pre-sale through the site for Depowered, it was the same thing. I had 112 backers on the Kickstarter that failed, but only got 50 to come to the website and just click the button. It's a very weird medium that we live in. People get excited about the crowdfunding and they just don't want to do the same thing through your website. So it was weird. But again, Bob and I have worked together for a long time. We have a good relationship together. So costs are low. We paid our colorist, out of pocket, and we'll figure out how to recoup that down the road. And we want to do some short stories like the first issue, collect them together, and then probably go back to Kickstarter or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I can't sing your praises enough, man. Yeah, I think you guys are doing cool stuff there, and I like that fuck you, I'll do it myself mentality. I really do. Even though I still haven't done that myself. Well, I mean, I've done that in other things, but not. I used to be on a podcast with other people, and I said, "Fuck you, I'm gonna do this myself," because podcast drama is a real thing, and that's why my co-hosts change every week now, and it's wonderful.
There you go, keep it fresh.
But
I appreciate you having me on for the 20th time and since we've met, and I appreciate the hype. I appreciate the backers. I won't call them by name because I don't want them to be embarrassed if they're still in the chat. But thank you so much for backing while we did the show. These things are huge. Again, when you're independent, I didn't really even have a plan for a launch. It was just so much chaos and just trying to get the book ready and do all the little stuff with the Kickstarter. And then it was like, Blake's like, "You want to do a launch?" It's like, I really appreciate that you would even think, to do that. With me. So thank you so much.
I'm excited, and I'm doing 2 more next week, and then so someone asked me, they were like, "You charging these guys to do these launch parties?" I was like, "No." I mean, like, do I want to? Yes, but like, no one, like, I feel like I'd have to like amp up the game if I'm going to charge for a launch party. But I just think this is another cool thing. I actually thought this would be a shorter show. I just can't do a fucking podcast or a show that doesn't go an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, I don't know why people like talking to me, but you guys do. And I don't shut up myself. So that's another issue. These are long-winded shows.
You have an infectious personality, and we appreciate it that it is spreading across the globe.
Here's a good question. Like how the pre-launch campaigns where you have people like get signed up. Like how early do you guys start those?
My goal with every campaign now is to start it 2 months in advance. It doesn't always happen. I think this one was like closer to 6 weeks, but I would do at least a month.
Yeah.
Because that is a huge part of it. Like getting those people to click that notify button, it really helps your first couple of days, and that helps you stay on the Kickstarter algorithms because people are backing, throughout those first couple of days, and they get that notification that you're launching. So I would give it at least 30 days.
Yeah, I do 30 days. I would like to do more, but I think social media squashes things so much that I feel that it might be a waste of time.
Because we didn't get as many. I think we had 150 for first campaign, and it was less than 90 when we launched this time. So it isn't the be all and end all,
dude.
But you definitely want to try to get at least 100 people to get that hype going.
Yeah, I wish I could. I had like 30.
Wow. Well, you got a good conversion then.
Well,
yeah.
Well, but again, it's a very specialized sort of thing. But what's interesting is, let me go and check this out. Right now I've got about 100 project followers. You know what I mean?
And tons of people have come to check it out now and are following now.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's good too, because they'll get that late,
Yeah, that 48-hour bump.
Oh, that's real important.
Yeah.
And you guys, you guys get a lot of money in in those last 48 hours too, right?
So I had less than 80. Now I have 101. So a lot of people are checking it out, saving it for later. They'll see where you're at. Yeah, you get it at the 48-hour mark, and then the 8 hours to go. I wish Kickstarter, if they could make a change and do it like 2 weeks in. That'd be amazing. But I get it. That's a lot of emails.
Yeah. Ignacio, thank you. I thought it was a good idea too, which is why we're here. And if there's one thing I'm good at, I'm pretty good at hyping and talking about comics. So I figured
you are the ultimate hype man, and I am honored to be on the first.
Yeah, the first launch party. Now it's going to turn into a whole thing. I'm going to have my music guy make me Kickstarter launch party music that's different than the Blake's. But like, I have this music guy who gets me, and like he just like I kind of tell him what I want, and he did my first the Blake's Buzz podcast music, and is like, I feel like when you have a show with like some good intro outro music, it just kind of helps, right? They're like, oh, he's like trying.
Yeah,
he's at least trying. And then but yeah, so like he made me like a newsroom weatherman intro kind of deal for the Honeypot podcast that I'm really stoked for. But yeah, I may have to have, if this starts turning into a deal. And by the way, people that are listening, I am super into doing these Kickstarter launch parties. Some people have had ideas to do like giveaways and stuff on Monday with Frankenstein, the Unconquered. I think we're gonna like they're gonna launch it like on the show, and then like if the first 50 backers or something that are watching get something like a sticker or something for free. So there's some of these guys are thinking about doing tiers and stuff, and so yeah, it's kind of a new territory. A lot of guys have done their own, like they'll go live themselves and be like, hey, our comics live, like let's have some friends on and talk, but not many podcasters or streamers are hosting these things. So I kind of thought I would like try and get my foot in the door, and anything I can, like, it builds my brand too. Like, people like listening to me talk, and it gets my, people subscribe to the YouTube and stuff. And then, of course, would love Patreon subscribers, but like I told everybody, if no one subscribes to my Patreon, I'm not going anywhere. Right. I love what I do, and I love doing this, and I love getting to talk comics with you amazingly talented people. And I, like I told John, like I got to eat dinner, but like we had family over. My sister made sausage and pepper sandwiches that were, oh man, they were good. I wanted to eat two, but then I was like, man, I'm gonna be like all like too full on air, like, oh god, Blake's Buzz. So I only ate one sandwich for you, John. Wow. I'm only half watching the Chiefs game.
Look at you. Like, just total restraint, under control. Only had 3 Budweisers before the
show. Yeah. Well, I got pretty lit last night, so I thought I would take it easy tonight. I need to not get the reason why I drink on the live streams is the first ever live stream I did it by myself. And I was just kind of talking comics and trying it out. to see if there was like a market for me, like if people would be into watching me do a live stream. And I got nervous, right? And so I was like drinking vodka before the show, and I drank the vodka so fast, like the buzz didn't get in until about 10 minutes into the show, and I was like, I'm lit, I'm fucked, you know, like I'm like talking live, I'm by myself, I'm just talking shit. And I was using Zoom and YouTube, Zoom and YouTube. And there was like a 20-second lag in the comments on YouTube that would post while I'm talking. And so like I'm drunk, I'm trying to keep up with the chat. There's like this lag of like people commenting on shit that I said a minute ago, and I was like, oh no, man, this is crazy.
No.
But it worked. Like people,
is this available on the internet still?
I think it might be like one of my first YouTube videos.
Let's do a launch live party where we rewatch that video.
But
hello, Viper Syndicate is saying hello from Australia.
Oh, nice. What's up? Oh, yeah, that's a metal ass name coming from across the globe.
Logo or picture.
Gennaro has a question for me. Did I? Yes. Why? Yes, I did. I was up there for the signing of Divine Retribution #1 when it came out. They ordered copies and everything. Were you there? Hopefully, I presented myself well. I get nervous in public, so hopefully I did good. Rachel was with me. She's amazing, so she was there for the show. I was just kind of there, just sitting. So,
is that a shop? Gotham City Limit
in Jacksonville. Really, really, really. Ben's the owner of it. Super nice guy. And
that's a sick shop name. I dig that.
It's a good shop too. Really good shop. He sells a lot of books.
One day when I'm less poor, I think a really cool vacation would be to kind of do like a cool road trip and hit up a bunch of comic book shops and just kind of like, you know, drive out to a few places and like make a week of it, stay at some places, eat some good food, and then make my way back. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good idea, but I was like, that sounds expensive too, Blake. I can't even buy comics, and I'm like, let's drive across the country and stop at local comic book shops. Like, just take a week off of work.
Do launch parties across the country.
Launch parties across
Donate
America.
To your Patreons. You know, you kind of just slumming on people's couches. It sounds right.
It looks like Gennaro met you out there. That's cool. Signed book and poster.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, you guys, everyone who went to the store was just great. They're just, Ben K's right. He's a super nice guy, man. I was so happy to do that signing. I can't wait to do another one. Hopefully he'll invite me back up because it's a great shop to do a signing in. And he has great customers like you, sir.
Nice segue. Well, guys, I've almost kept you for 2 hours, and I could easily keep talking to both of you because you're both just fine, talented gentlemen with a lot of great stuff to say and a lot of great comic books to read, which is what we're here to talk about tonight. And you know, I'm so glad we got John some backers, and Austin. I hope maybe we got you a couple too, and you got one out of me. I guess I'll be backing it when I get off. I almost said when I get off the phone here. When we get off the stream. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. I just haven't. I think that cover A is calling my name, but I also dig that Stefano. I don't know what to do. Oh man, I'm all flustered now. I got shit to think about.
Here's the thing, bro. You can pick that, and then the add-ons you can get the artwork.
Oh wow,
comic book. I got all sorts of totally hook you up.
Hook you up.
Well, that's awesome. So I real quick, I want to go. I want you guys to just kind of fill us in on. Well, I mean, obviously you guys got Kickstarters going on, but like Austin, like where's the best place to keep track of you on the internet to keep track of your silver screen and comic book endeavors?
So Facebook, it's Austin Janowski, but if you want to know about my acting, it's Austin Janowski Actor. Same thing with Instagram, Austin Janowski Actor, like that. Or you can when stuff is announced, you can just go ahead and Google it, I guess. But yeah, for social media, those are usually the best ways to kind of see me. I'm trying to do more Twitter. I'm not that great with Twitter, but I will try to do my best and do more with that. And that's Janowski 2002.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming on, man. I wish you great success in Kickstarter. And like I said, I think this looks fucking dope. And and, you know, Jonathan Hedrick's a hot name right now. So is Stefano, and they're both of them working together is they're making comic book magic, and you got that between these covers. So yeah, like, ladies and gentlemen, and others, like, check this out. It looks like it's going to be worth a read. And yeah, oh man, I keep thinking about those hard black inks and that red blood, man. It looks so fucking good. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And then, you know, the man of the hour, or the 2 hours, I guess technically, is Mr. John Westhoff. Are you your sole owner of Part Time Comics, or is it you and somebody else?
I am the sole proprietor of Part Time Comics, unless you try to sue me, and then I'll find someone else.
Get a fall guy, yeah. So yeah, Part Time Comics is awesome. Drumsticks of Doom is fucking awesome. I love it. You know, the characters are cool. The art is astounding. The black and white art works so well. The vibes are so great. Really excited to see where issue 2 takes us. I'm even more excited to know that ideally we're going to get 9 or 10 of these, because that's fucking dope. I really do want to, like, live in this world for a long time. You know, like, it's for a world that's contaminated by what erupted from the gates of hell. It's quite pleasant and enjoyable, oddly enough. And if for some reason, if you guys are weird and don't want to do Kickstarter, you can buy his comics off Part Time Comics, the website.
Part Time Comics on most social media right here. Linktree is the best way. Linktree/Part Time Comics with an X. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you know, again, Linktree. Our store is storeenvy.com/Part Time Comics. So yeah, if you're afraid of the crowdfunding sites, please, I love to package up those individual orders that I get through the site.
And he does package them well. I've bought from their site a couple times, and they come all nice, and he'll sometimes throw some stickers and shit in there too. Or maybe that was just me because I'm special. He's probably like, "Shut up, Blake," but I don't know. Anyways, we don't give away the stickers, motherfucker. Anyway, guys, this was super awesome. I'm super excited for both of you. And you know, John, I still hope you come back on the show in a couple weeks. I think because I got another werewolf writer coming on. It's the Southpaw writer wants to come on the 28th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
yeah, no, I'll be happy to be on the werewolf theme show. You know, with our #1 fan Ignacio will be in the chat. Tell us all about the werewolf theme thing. So yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'll see you all in a couple weeks then.
All right. Unless anybody else has an announcement or anything to make, I'm gonna play the song. Play the song, baby.
Nice meeting y'all.
Nice meeting you.
Woo!
It's Blake's Buzz